Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the broadcast. I'm your host, Suze, and with me are my lovely co-hosts, Tammy and Ash. Ladies, how are you doing this evening?
I was waiting for Ash to
someone
answer.
go.
We're so polite. I'm actually feeling pretty festive.
Oh, festive.
I'm getting into the spirit.
Nice. I like it. Tammy?
Yeah, kind of festive, I guess. I'm still unpacking things and trying to make things look pretty. So decorative and festive.
That's a whole ordeal. That's going to take time. Don't rush it. Don't rush it.
Oh yeah, there's still a lot of boxes to unpack, but whatevs.
I'm excellent. Thanks for asking, bitches. I appreciate it. We also have our Dave from Perception Correction with us. Dave, how are you?
Rad.
That's a new one. That is a new one. I like it.
I'm on thesaurus.com, and every time you ask, I look up great on thesaurus.com, and I'm going to pick a new one.
So festive is not on there?
No, definitely not. Super is. I skipped super. Maybe next week.
All right. We also have a special guest with us this evening. I myself have had the pleasure of meeting him at a Twitter meetup last year, and I will be seeing him again this coming weekend for our now annual Christmas Twitter meet. We have Adamental joining us for a chat. Adamental, whose real name is Steve, is a 47-year-old Christian conservative musician. He's a husband and a father of 3 who lives in the Kitchener-Waterloo region in Ontario, who became politically active after the 2020 COVID scam woke him up to the corruption and the local schools started trying to brainwash his kids. I know about that all too well. His trials with the school and outspoken posts resulted in many viral tweets and networking within the Freedom community. He attended the Freedom Convoy protests in Ottawa, like myself and Ash. Tammy unfortunately didn't make it, and is now doing everything in his power to wake people up with his music, media presence, and networking within the community, so we can get that frickin' Trudeau, globalism, woke politics, and climate alarmism out of Canada and restore financial responsibility and cultural sanity. And let's make Canada great again. You can find him on X at Adamental2, the number 2. Steve, thank you for joining us. How are you this evening?
I'm excellent. Thanks so much for having me on. It's a pleasure.
Woo woo! Gonna see you this weekend.
Welcome.
Yeah, it's been wonderful getting to know everybody in the community. We have such a wonderful little Twitter family going, and everybody, networking and meeting each other. And yeah, it's been wonderful to, we're living in insane times, right? The culture is so rotten, and the institutions are so corrupt. And so to find people that can see it and are awake to it and aren't it's even more dystopian when you're around people that don't see it, and and you're trying to put up the face like everything's normal, but if you try to say anything, they give you the fluoride stare.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful to connect.
Stare.
Well, you're in Commie Central there.
Yes.
Oh, it's
You're
bad.
in a horrible region.
Yeah, my kids go to a school in the Waterloo Region District School Board that's under their jurisdiction, and my Twitter account originally went viral when I posted a tweet a couple of years ago when they gave her an assignment to do a native land acknowledgement, and they wanted her to make one up and basically grovel about white colonization in the West, and they wanted her to read it on the school announcements, and I tweeted that out, and it went super mega viral, and suddenly I had I probably got 3,000 or 4,000 followers from a single tweet, and I've never, to this day, I've never had a tweet that went bigger than that, but I've had a few other viral ones, and certainly the one that's pinned is also one of my bigger ones, but it's been quite the I live in an area with a school district that is absolutely hammering our kids with all of the most evil stuff you could imagine, and during COVID, I was begging my wife to homeschool them, but she refused to pull the plug. And so my next best option was to try to protect them from some of the more egregious attempts at brainwashing. And at the same time, I'm absolutely pounding into my kids how much we reject this stuff on a regular basis so that they don't ever start to entertain it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then on top of that, I work for a large corporation, which shall not be named. But I work along, I'm working alongside people who are fast asleep on a regular basis, rubbing elbows with people who think Trudeau is the best, and who embrace DEI as a philosophy and culture, and agree with all the brainwashing that's been pumped on them. And it's like the frog slowly getting warmed up, right? Like things that you'd say there's no way you would ever agree with that, but the culture has just slowly shifted, and people that are asleep have shifted with it, and they don't realize how far it's just drifted them.
Oh my God. Yeah. So going to that tweet, we'll just jump ahead here regarding that tweet that went viral. Dave, I don't know if you want to bring it up, but I do have it here in front of me. I can read it. So basically you wrote, our 13-year-old daughter
mean
has...
this one? Sorry.
That's the one.
The one.
Yeah. Our 13-year-old daughter has been given an assignment at school to write her own personal land acknowledgement, to grovel in guilt about white colonization of the West. And they want to they want her to read it on the morning announcements. So we are going to war with the school. So what happened? Like, what was war?
I gotta give you a little bit of context. So, like, I came onto Twitter originally in my this is my Adamental 2 account. This is my second account. My first account was Adamental, just Adamental. And that's my music account because I'm a hip hop recording artist and producer. Yeah, I'm 47. I'm almost 50, so I'm very old to be doing this, but that's fine. I'm still working at that. But then when COVID landed, like that account was dedicated to music and promoting my music and networking in the music world and all the rest. And the whole thing was music focused. And then when COVID happened, I just forgot about music, and everything was about learning, like waking up to the scam and the corruption and the tyranny that we were under. And basically that account just totally became 100% political for like a year and a half, to the point that it really offended and turned off a lot of people in the music world that were my contacts. And so I finally,
Fuck them.
So I finally went, I really need to make this a music account again. So I'm going to open up a second account, and I'll make that dedicated to politics. And that's where I'll air out all of my controversial opinions. That's where I'll complain and try to draw attention to all the stuff that younger people who are not awake or would not want to hear and get offended by. And so I separated them, and I changed my whole follower listing. And then I came on here, and I swear I had like nobody. Like, it was the deadest account until this tweet. And this was just a drop. Like, this was me just, I wasn't thinking anything of it. You just living your day. Like, I woke up in the morning, I'm logging into my job, and I just it was like a throwaway tweet. And then all of a sudden it went crazy. And I remember logging in that night with my wife, and we go into my notifications, and the thing's just going hyperspeed. Like, it was the craziest thing I'd ever seen. And it went on like that for 2 days. Like, and actually when I went back and looked at the metrics, like, the second day had like twice as many as the first. So anyway, yeah, that made my second account, my politics account, much bigger than my first music account. And now my politics account's almost at 10,000 followers, whereas my music one is only like 1,200 or something. But this is where I sound off, right? This is where I let it all out. And this is the stuff that resonates with people who share our values and can see what's happening the way we can.
So the funny
that's why
thing
I got
is,
so big. Yeah.
like wouldn't them asking your daughter to write a land acknowledgement, couldn't that be considered cultural appropriation? Like, the things that they don't want us to do, they're also forcing on kids. So it's like a form of gaslighting. How did you respond to that?
Well, I mean, I was ready to go over them, give them a piece of my mind, but trying to be the good Christian man, I didn't want to. I guess at the beginning, I thought to myself, if I come in there guns blazing and really get my back up, like, they're not gonna cooperate with me, and it's just gonna turn into a war. So what I did is I tried to approach it professionally and respectfully at the beginning. And I tell the whole story about it on my AM 640 interview, which came out after the fact. Like, I got brought onto the radio because of the huge response that this tweet had, and I guess I got the attention of this radio station, and they reached out to me, and I went on, and I remember recounting the story to them as well. But like, if you actually go into the comments of the tweet, I provide continuous updates of what happened. But basically, I came and I told them we don't agree with this. We don't agree with all the left wing indoctrination that you're putting into us, and this is basically very much against our values, and we will not allow our daughter to do this assignment. So you need to give her something else. And they came back and were agreeable to that. And I was like, well, obviously, I'd like to see this stuff taken out of the curriculum. But my chief concern is just protecting my daughter. And in that instance, I was appeased by that just to get her out of, so she dodges the bullet. And she's a young, impressionable mind, and they're hammering her from every angle. And then like, that wasn't even the first. Like, there's been several instances of this. Like, I've had to pull her out of the sex education program where they're constantly hammering in about homosexuality and gender identity and masturbation and all these crazy, like, perverted concepts that we never learned about in sex ed when we were growing up.
Yeah.
So I pulled her out of all that, and yeah, it's been amazing because I think more and more people are seeing it. They're seeing that all the institutions do not have our best interest at heart. They're out there actively working against us.
Yeah.
And it's disheartening, and it's hard for people to wrap their head around. But after COVID, I don't know how. Like, to me, it's not that hard. But I think the biggest problem people have with wrapping their head around COVID was realizing, like, that there's that much evil out there, and people have a hard time with that. But once you wrap your head around,
they don't want to believe that the government's actually out to get us.
But like, it's the kind of thing that if you can't see it yourself with your own eyes and you just hear it on somebody else's, you just look at them like, okay, yeah, whatever. It's so easy to roll your eyes. Like, you have to see it for yourself, and once you can see it, then you realize that's when you can accept it.
Yeah, for sure. I was Tammy and I, we both had like a Christmas dinner this past weekend, and we both had very different experiences. And unfortunately, Tammy's wasn't a great one, right, Tammy? I got lucky, and I, ended up talking at the table about the podcast is what came up, and all the different things that we talk about. And I met these two women that were very like-minded, and we talked for like almost 2 hours about everything, all the corruption and everything. And the one girl had admitted, like, she wasn't awake to it like early on, but she ended up going and getting one jab, and she had severe reactions from it. And it was when she went to the doctor, she was covered in rashes and like all this stuff. And that's what the moment that opened her eyes, because she went to the doctor, she was saying, and she was asking for like a requisition for blood work and this, that, and the other because of all these symptoms and all these rashes she's having. She's like, something's going on, blah, blah, blah. And the doctor basically shut her down. The doctor looked at her and was like, it's all in your head. And she was like, what? And it was that moment where she saw it for herself, right? And she started to awaken.
Dude, I remember being at my brother's place, and we were like, our whole family was awake too. None of us took the jab, none of us, and I made sure my daughters didn't. But we were sitting in his office in his shop, and he got an email come in from his doctor, and I remember reading it, and it was the most dystopian thing I'd ever read. It was like, come on down and be euthanized. Like, that's how we read it. And like, it sounded like it just, I don't. Do you not remember the things that the government sent us in the mail? Like, they sent us like all the myths around the COVID vaccine, and they had infographics, and they were like one by one trying to knock down all the things people were saying online. Like, I think I kept a copy of it because I'm going to save it.
I think I got something. Yeah.
Like, I remember the video. About this is how mRNA works, and you don't have to worry because as soon as it goes into your shoulder, within 24 hours, it disappears.
Right. Oh,
right.
Okay. Here's a story I could tell you that I got to be careful because I don't want to, I don't want to reveal too much about the company I work at, but they had somebody from the COVID vaccine task force from the government show up at our company and try to sell us on the vaccine before it got released.
Oh, wow.
They had a huge conference, and this guy got up, and he was there with people in senior leadership, but he was somebody who was from the government vaccine task force. And he went down the sales pitch in front of everybody. And at that time, I was already like wide awake to what was going on. And I remember like first times hearing any hint of a vaccine coming. I'm like, oh no, I hope they don't do that. And sure enough, it was waiting in the wings. Mm-hmm. And he gets up and he starts selling us on it. And he said similar things to what you just said, which is, oh, don't worry. He goes, yeah, it's mRNA, it's new technology, but this is not the first time we've seen an evolution in the technology of vaccines. This is a natural part of the progress, the march forward, progress in medicine, and you have nothing to be worried about. And we're here to protect you. La la la. And I remember watching, like staring into the screen and staring into this man's eyes and like seeing the snake in him. and being like, you are a villain who's trying to convince us to go and hurt and kill ourselves. And I immediately saw it. And then when the thing was over, you go into the comments and you see all the people, you know what it's like at work. Everybody, nobody's going to put their nasty comments. Everybody's going to put their fake professional comments. Mm-hmm. And all the comments are, I can't wait. I'm going to be first in line to get vaccinated. La, la, la. It's just an avalanche of pro-vaccination stuff. And then I remember pouring over that. And I was one of maybe 2 or 3 people that was like going against the grain. But you have to be so careful what you say, right? Anyway, that was a really dystopian moment, and yeah, it's going to be hard for anyone who didn't live through it to understand just how insane it was.
Yeah. Well, it's only getting worse. So the longer it takes them to wake up, the harder it's going to be, because it's only getting more and more insane. So if you haven't woken up yet, like, holy crap, I feel so bad for you, because I don't, like, when the floor dropped out from underneath me and my husband, when we started realizing the evil that's going on, it was hard. Like, those were dark days. I mean, it wasn't until we went to the convoy in Ottawa that we kind of, our spirits got uplifted, but then of course that got crushed as well by old Stompy. Stompy the horse. And so, like, I truly do, like, I feel for the people, because I was one of them. I feel for the people who have been duped, and if they're not seeing it yet, they are really in for, they're either not going to wake up at all, or they're in for a real awakening.
Well, yeah, my take on it is, if COVID didn't wake you up, I don't know what will. Like, I think the only other thing that might wake you up is a near-death experience. And I do know some people that's exactly what happened to them, right? Where they had to fall for the deception and fall for the propaganda, buy into it, until suddenly they had a heart attack or a stroke or turbo cancer or something horrible happened, and then they realized, and then they started, and then some of them wake up and some of them don't. Like, I know a guy from my church who I was warning him from the beginning, don't do it, man. Like, we were friends. He knew my position. He was well informed, and he agreed with me. But his wife was kind of a left-wing socialist, and she absolutely demanded that he took it. And in order to appease her, he took it. And sure enough, a few months later, his arteries clogged up so hard that he didn't have the energy to get up and down the stairs. He went in and had what is an angiogram, where they stick something in your vessel, in your bloodstream, and they can see the passage of where blood, and they can see where the restrictions are. And he had a section of his heart that was 90% clogged, and he had to have open heart surgery to fix it, to survive.
Wow.
And even after the fact, I said, see? And he goes, oh, no, that had nothing to do with the vaccine. That was just, life.
Oh, he still didn't connect the dots.
Still didn't connect the dots.
Oh,
so
God.
For some people, it doesn't matter. You can't wake them up. It doesn't matter what you say.
We're seeing people die in their 50s, like suddenly either turbo cancer or heart attacks or what have you now, like within our circle. And the people around them just, they won't connect it because the doctors aren't connecting it, right? The doctors don't want liability. So,
and did you know, if you look up if you Google like turbo cancer, they try to debunk it. Like, it's just a made up conspiracy, whatever, anti-vax, blah, blah, blah term.
Yeah.
Did you guys see the video that I posted about that guy from the States talking about all these viruses that are coming next month?
Oh, yeah, Peter Hotez.
Yeah.
Did you all see that? Steve, did you see that?
I did not.
Okay, I sent it to Dave. Dave, can you play it? Because it's fucking crazy.
He's not looking great, by the way.
No sound at the moment.
Makes me happy.
Really worried about it's big picture stuff coming down the pike starting on January 21st. Mentioned H5N1, that I'm really worried about. It's all over wild birds on the western part of the United States and going up in the north. It's getting into the poultry. And that's just the beginning. We have another major coronavirus likely brewing, but there's still more. We know that we have a big problem with mosquito-transmitted viruses all along the Gulf Coast, where I am here in Texas. So we're expecting dengue and possibly Zika virus coming back, or a Puche virus, maybe even yellow fever. And there's more. Then we have all this sharp rise in vaccine preventable diseases going up because of, in part, the anti-vaccine activism that's so prominent right now. We have a 5-fold rise in pertussis cases, whooping cough over the last year, 15 measles outbreaks this year. We've got polio that's been in the wastewater in New York State. All that's going to come crashing down on January 21st on the Trump administration. We need a really, really good team to be able to handle it.
Like, what the fuck?
Oh my God, we're all gonna die.
Okay, that I'm glad you just showed me that, because that's very consistent with my take on how things are going to play out.
But like, how is this? Okay, did you see the headline? It was like what's his name? Junior, or Kennedy Jr., whatever. Dangerous, too dangerous for America, or whatever it said, right? And it's like, how do you know the date that this is happening? I don't understand.
Yeah,
You're not
and
like
releasing all of those mosquitoes that seem to be creating illnesses now couldn't have anything to do with Bill Gates releasing a pile of mosquitoes on the coast, could it? Nothing. No way.
Not.
So, like, I don't know. I'm not sure how I'm obviously I'm a huge Trump fan, but I also have reserved my suspicions that he may be one of them, because he still doubled down on the vaccine. And,
sure.
Right. So I have a concern that he might not be the real article. But what happened last time when Trump was in office, right? We saw the media and all the institutions absolutely create as much chaos as they possibly could. We had riots, cities burning. We had they basically went to town to try and make those years the most tumultuous they possibly could, so that they could make everyone, and then they could use the media to try and blame the current administration they don't have it under control, so that they could try to win power back. So now, if Trump's coming into power, what is the establishment who wants to take over the world? What are they going to do? They're going to try and create wars and diseases and then riots and they're just going to try and make everything chaos, so that they can blame him and make so that he can't they're basically throwing him a really tough curveball that he can't manage properly, so that they can make him look bad, blame him, and try to get public support back on their side, right?
But they're also telling us that they're doing it this time on January 21st.
Well, I think that's his take on, it's all engineered, and they'll wait until they can move forward with their agenda, right? Yeah. I don't know, man. So I do think we're going to go through some scary years, but it's all, to me, it's all part of the divide and conquer, right? Like you've got to outrage. You got to keep one side outraged while the other one's in power, and then the other one gets in power, and then the other side gets outraged, and then they just keep raising the ante until we all kill each other.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yep. All right then. Well, that was that.
No worries.
Well, let's talk about your music.
So
I know you released an album this year, didn't you?
Yeah, it's been quite the year, let me tell you. I'm an independent, home recording artist and producer. It's not my day job. I work for a large corporation in the financial world. So it's not how I make my money. It's very much something I do on the side, but I've been keeping it going my whole life. I'm 47 now. I've been doing it for over 30 years. Even back in university, I used to, every dorm room I went into, I claimed the closet and I put up foam padding and turned it into a mic booth. I've been doing this forever, but I kind of come to it and then I fall away because it's not my main gig. And it's something I can't let go of. And now I'm actually coming back harder and stronger because I'm older now, and I have the perspective and the wisdom to be able to comment on what's happening very confidently and with perspective, whereas I didn't have that before, right? And I released the album in February. It was called Last Days, and it was coming off of the COVID period. But the music that's in that, I think there's 14 songs on it, and those songs stretch back all the way back to maybe 2018. So it's like a collection of work that's over the last several years, but it's all Christian conservative. It's all praising God. but there's a lot of political content in there too. There's one song that's very much dedicated to pointing out Trudeau and his corruption.
That's You Can't Hold Me, right?
Yeah, You Can't Hold Me. That was that one. That one specifically is about Canada and Trudeau, but I also have, there's a song in there about the New World Order's takeover of the whole world. It's the very last song on the album, called This Wicked Place, where I talk about, basically how the world is run by evil, rich pedophiles that have taken over every government and control our internet and our schools, and they're going to control our financial system, and they're going to bring in centralized digital currency, and they're going to, and then I basically explain how this is eventually going to lead to the mark of the beast from the Bible, right? And that you need a mark on your hand and forehead in order to buy and sell, to participate in society. So I'm tying politics and religion together in a lot of this, and like the actual song "Last Days" is about, basically living in the end times and how corrupt everything is. So, it's not, there's a very consistent theme running through the whole body of work. That's, I guess, what I'm saying.
Well, I've heard some of your work and I love it. I don't know if you guys want to listen to maybe the one where he, Trudeau destroys Canada. We can have, how long is it again?
Just under 3 minutes.
Just under 3 minutes. We can listen to some of it. Let's do it.
Okay, if this works, that means I've figured out the other thing too. So.
Oh, we're good. It's just got a lot of echo.
Just my body. America, home of the brave, land of the free. Canada's up here looking down on you with jealousy. Trudeau and the globalists have got us in a squeeze, stomping on our liberties with tyranny. Got a corrupt regime in bed with the foreign enemy. The World Economic Forum's driving all of our policies, crushing our economy to push us into poverty. Agenda 2030's here to take all of our property and stick us in the 50-minute smart city prisons, where they restrict us to districts and dictate the way we're living. Use facial recognition and all their surveillance systems to put us all on close supervision. They think they're winning, but they in for a rude surprise. Cause we will rise, we won't be divided and terrorized. You can try to crush our spirit, but we won't fold. We refuse to be controlled, you can't hold me. You can't hold me. I'm too slippery. I do no slippery. I get on. You can touch me. Son of Castro, Trudeau's a natural-born tyrant, admirer of the basic dictatorship of China. Use him as a blueprint, he's ruthless, he's trying to turn us to the first post-national state. And if we're spineless, he'll lead us into the new world order. Demonize the natives while flinging open the border. DE&I to divide and conquer. They must demoralize us all so they can take over. It all started in the colleges, brainwash our sons and daughters with Marxist doctrine so they be converted to apologists. Spread their ideology through boardrooms and offices so they can spew it all on top of us. I think I speak for all of us when I say we've had enough of this. Take your communism and shove it down your esophagus. We're a free people, so we won't fold. We refuse to be controlled, you can't hold me. You can't hold me. I'm too slippery. Do no slip.
Yeah, that's pretty much the end of it.
Love it. You got we got our Hayden in the back. He said he just gave you a follow on Spotify. Very good.
No, that's
so awesome. Like, it's so good.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah,
done, sir.
No, I don't know. I feel like I really just want to use I feel like I have a music gift and I want to use it to help wake people up. I want to use it to fight for what's right and to try and just anything I can do, right? Use everything that's at your disposal, that's in your power. Like, this is something I can do with my music, and then I try to use my Twitter account, and then I also try to wake people up in my real life and networking and so forth. That it feels like in the Bible they talk about, the harvest is plenty, but the workers are few. meaning there's just so much need out there, and there's not enough people to go and do the work. And I don't know, I just feel like that's a gap that I can be a part of filling.
Yeah, no, for
I feel
sure.
like right now is such an amazing time for new artists who are, independent and not beholden to the, the powers that be, because there's such a void of authentic music out there right now, and so it's a really good time to get out there. And you are so talented, like it's really good music. So I really hope that it takes off.
Well, thank you so much. I'm actually just completely renovated my recording studio at home. That's what I'm sitting in right now, and I'm actually going to be really going hard on this, like for the next 10 years of my life at least. Like I'm almost 50. I'm getting old. I got to do it now or the time's up.
Yeah.
And, but I've also, like, everything's just sort of come together, right? Like I'm at the point now where my kids are getting older and I'm starting to get some free time back. I have 3 daughters that are aged 18, 15, and 12. So I've had my hands very full for the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had to put, all this kind of stuff on hold and just focus on raising my family. But now I'm starting to get a little bit of free time back that I can go back to my music passion. But I'm also, my sound has matured. My voice is a lot more grizzly than it used to be. I have a lot more knowledge, like life experience to be able to speak to what's happening in the world. And I now have money that I can put into it, right? When you're young, you're
Nice.
sure, man. When you're young, you're starving. You can't afford anything. I can put money into, music videos, promotion, music gear. I have all the equipment. Like I'm dripping in music equipment. So it just feels like it's all kind of coming together.
What do your kids think of your music? Just being, their ages and stuff. Do they think you're like cringy, or do they enjoy it?
No, they love it, but I think it's hard for them to have a Christian, conservative, awake parent, because I'm always harping on how evil the world is and how much there's basically traps everywhere, and you need to avoid this, you need to avoid that, and mm-hmm. I'm somebody who grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I remember when entertainment used to be way better. Like we have a very feminine culture now. Like men don't have a lot of role models. Men don't have a lot of entertainment that speaks to them anymore. And like I for one very much notice it, feel it all the time. So. And I've basically built up this like an intolerance for all things woke. Like like in the beginning when they started ruining all of our favorite franchises like Star Wars and I don't know, just everything you name it, man, everything's getting ruined, even Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
When they first started doing it, you didn't know how to react to it, and so you knew you didn't like it, but you would sort of go along with it, and you'd watch the movie, and you would just sort of roll your eyes and ignore the parts that were really offensive. But they've been doing it now for like almost 10 years. Like I think the world went crazy woke or sometimes around 2012, 2013, and everything after that point was tainted, even in the video game world.
Yep.
I've become really, really sensitive to it. Like, for example, I was watching the Dungeons and Dragons movie by myself, not with my kids. I was just wanting to check it out. And then there was the part came where the girl boss gets up and single-handedly beats up an entire battalion of soldiers with her bare hands, and the guy's wearing swords and shields and everything. And I just went, I'm out, delete, turn it off. I can't watch it anymore. Like, I just can't stand it anymore. I can't stand it. And, so I think that there's a real need for voices. Okay. So sorry, this is relating back to my kids. They get sick of me harping on all the things that they love, right? Like they watch stuff and they don't see, like it doesn't jump off the screen to them the way it does to me, right? So they're so
it's like you're ruining it for them,
yeah. Basically, exactly, right? So they're like, we can't watch movies with Dad because he points out all the stuff and it ruins it, and so they get sick of it, right? So with my music, I think they kind of look at it like that. Like, here's Dad harping about how evil the world is and how everything is bad, and they don't want to. And I've learned, like raising children, that like they need to be built up and encouraged, and like you need like positive voice. And so I can't always be focusing on all the horrible things happening in the world. I need to kind of draw their attention away from that and towards what's good. But the problem is everything is corrupt. Everything's been compromised everywhere. It's really hard. And actually, but now the culture's starting to fight back. We're now seeing like major properties get destroyed by the wokeness and failing in the marketplace. Like we saw the game Concord, Sony's biggest video game failure in history, where they put $200 million into it, had 150 people work on it for 8 years, and then they released it, and nobody wanted to play it. It maxed out at 600 players on Steam, and the whole project got flushed down the toilet so badly that they didn't even make it free to play. They just canceled it and took the loss.
Why? What happened? What happened? Why didn't anybody want to buy? Sorry, I don't play video games, so
Nobody wanted to play it because they made it so unbelievably woke. So basically, okay, most of your player base is male, believe it or not. Yeah, women play video games too, but men are the ones who are way more into it. Mm-hmm. And we want to play tough, macho men with big muscles that look strong and hardcore. We don't want to play weak. Like they make all the white people villains or weak or gay in all the games, okay? They make all the black people the heroes. They make all the women tough, all the men weak. Everything's gay. And in this particular video game, it was a hero shooter like Overwatch, or like there's several of them other like Valorant, and they made everything like cringy woke. Like all of the characters were just so not attractive. You look at them and go, I don't want to be that person. I don't know which character to pick on the roster because they're all so unattractive, right? But it was so bad that everyone, the entire marketplace of the entire video gaming landscape rejected it.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you know this game, Ash? Because
I don't know that game, but Steve, do you know Witcher 3?
Yeah.
The Wild Hunt. So that one, that's a game I've really liked to play, and it's actually old enough that it's not woke, but they adopted it into a TV show, and they just DEI'd the crap out of it. And they, the main character who plays, the guy who plays the main character, Henry Cavill, he actually left the show because he's loyal to the books and also the video game, and he said, I can't do this. Like I won't let this happen to this video game.
He left. I wasn't sure why. That's awesome.
Yeah. And so, I was actually just saying to my hubby the other day that I just think things like that are just so amazing. The fact that he left that, and then I think he's like, wasn't he Superman too? I don't. So then they actually fired him from Superman, and yeah, and for reasons of him being, a bigot, I guess, but there is a backlash happening, and for good reason, because it's all these things are losing their soul. Like there's nothing to, it's all fluff now. And even I've been saying to my hubby that there's actually a danger in showing women as the toughest characters on the screens, because my hubby and I, if we were to ever like play wrestle, he freaking takes me down in a second. Like he's so much stronger than me, and this pretending like women are just as strong or stronger than men could get them into situations that are very dangerous for them. And so it just really bothers me. It's like, yeah, pump girls up. There's lots of reasons why we need to be raised up and celebrated, but why does it have to be about physical strength? Like that's not it.
No, I think that, well, I'm Christian, so I very much think that God made men and women different but unique, and like we're two halves of the same coin. And we, like I always say to my kids, like all children should be raised by a man and a woman because we reflect the image of God in a way that the other one doesn't. A man and a woman will be able to give children more than any two men or any two women ever will, because we both bring different things to the table and have unique strengths and weaknesses. So to celebrate a woman for being strong and tough and be able to beat people up, that's a male thing you're trying to ascribe to her. Like, celebrate women for what they are. They are not the same as men. Okay, so stop trying to confuse everybody. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I don't know. That's my take on it. But okay, so Dave, can you look up the stock market price of Ubisoft, UBI Soft, and show us like the 10-year view of it? And
They're so woke. They're so woke.
Well, no, but this is a wonderful, wonderful story and great news for sanity. Is that this company is going under right now, big time.
Yeah,
they're going to get bought. Their stock market value went from like $80-$90 a share back in 2021. Now it's like less than, like it's like down to $10 a share. And they have had catastrophe after catastrophe because everything they push out is woke.
And one of their main branches is in Montreal, and it's woke city.
Yeah. So I've been in the front row just like cheering on the demise of this company. Like they've ruined so many franchises. And like they just put out a Star Wars game called Star Wars Outlaws. Then instead of putting like the whole thing takes place during the original trilogy of the movie, and it's all about bounty hunters. Okay, so it should have started Han Solo, but instead they made it like a female version of it, and they made her very masculine, and it was very clearly woke, and like everybody rejected it. Then they're coming out with their biggest franchise, Assassin's Creed, and everyone's been waiting for them to make one set in Japan in the samurai world. And they finally are going to do it. It's the longest awaited title. And what did they do? They made the main character a black guy in feudal Japan.
Yeah.
Right? Because they can't help themselves. And it was like a huge, like, it was very offensive to the people of Japan. And everybody else who's sick of wokeness told them, and they, like, it comes out in the numbers. They can see it in the reaction when they're starting to release trailers. And they got the writing on the wall, and they canceled the game and pulled it out, and they're not releasing it ahead of Christmas. Now it's coming out next February. But by then, the company will be bankrupt because the market is universally going, no, I will not do this anymore. And it just seems like it took a long time for everybody else to catch up and figure it out.
Wow. Well, maybe Disney briefly figured it out because I just took my kids to the movies last weekend and I was watching one of the previews and they have a new Snow White coming out that's being released in the spring and she's white. And I was like, oh, they made her white. I'm shocked. I'm fucking shocked.
No
like,
doubt.
Snow White is white. Okay.
Disney has become like, they're the poster child for ruining everything that they used to have. Like, it's so bad. You know what everybody likes to say? I dare you to make Tarzan a black guy.
Could you imagine? Oh my God.
They'll never do that.
Here's something else that I just think is hilarious. So, like, they literally canceled Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben because they're black. But it's like, what the heck? Aren't you supposed to be celebrating black people? Like, what? They're not allowed to be the face of a company? Like,
yeah, exactly.
So it's so backwards.
Didn't they also mess up Mr. Potato Head because he was a Mister?
I think there was something with that, yeah.
I think he's just called Potato Head now. I can't remember.
Potato.
So what I have observed, and I guess it's accelerated, right? Because now you're seeing woke entertainment fail, but it didn't always fail. So what they tried to do, they try to push it, and they know you're not going to like it. So the only way they can get you to watch it is to put it into a known intellectual property that you already know and love, like Star Wars or Lord of the Rings or something else. So that's why they come after all of our heroes and all of the things, because that's the only way we'll actually show up to the theater and watch it. And they're like, here, we're going to get our programming in their face. But by doing that, they taint the property and they ruin it.
Yeah.
And they're slowly ruining everything.
Yeah,
everybody's sick of it.
Dave's got Mr. Potato Head here on the screen. What does it say?
Excuse me, it's Potato Head. Hasbro's dropping the honorific Mr. from the Mr. Potato Head brand, renaming the shape-shifting plastic spud to the gender-neutral Potato Head. It's a noble change.
Why don't they call it Apple Head? Because doesn't Jugmeat Singh think that potatoes are apples?
Yeah, I don't even think I need to read anymore. You get the point.
Yeah, we get the point.
Yeah.
We get the point.
I mean, the nature of that product lends itself well to that sort of thing because of, taking parts out. But
oh, God.
I don't know. I think this is all part of it's all a big psychological campaign to demoralize us and condition us, right? All of it.
Mm-hmm. And sterilize the next generation and destroy the nuclear family and blah, blah, blah. We all know.
So,
and it's not the first time this has happened. Like, I know they're trying to just delete history for us, but, like, there have been other times in history when this has taken place. Right, Tammy?
Tammy?
Yep.
Explain.
You may not want to go down that rabbit hole right now, but
just the Coles notes.
You've seen it.
Are you talking about Europa?
Oh, shit. Yeah, we don't got time for that.
I don't know. I haven't watched that, but I know that you've been sending out some tweets, and you're like, "Wow, this history has taken place before."
Yeah, so I don't want to get into Europa. Steve, I don't know if you've watched it or not, but they go in depth on the Weimar Republic in Germany, and it was basically Berlin, and all of the disgusting things that were going on there. And I'm not going to get into who was behind it. People can do their own research, but it wasn't Germany. And the similarities are astounding. Like, my mind was actually blown.
Similarities of what's happening today.
Yeah, the drag and trafficking children and
established playbook that's being rolled out again for a new generation, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And like I said, everybody can do their own research, but it was absolutely the video that I did see, and how it was pushed through the media, and again, anybody listening is going to want to try to find out who owned the media at that time. But it was in everything, the movies, the plays, it was all over Berlin. And it was just wild what was happening to children. They literally had mother-daughter like sex shows.
What?
Oh my God.
Yeah, the degenerate. They did introduce. It's like everything that's happening. You see how much degeneracy is being introduced into society and trying to normalize.
Yeah,
they've done this before in history and other places for sure.
Yeah, they did, and ultimately it led to the German population getting very fed up. But like I said, people can do their own research, and that is all I will say about that.
Wow.
Okay, so. Oh man, I swear we could talk for hours and hours. I have so much stuff I could say. It's ridiculous. But just seeing this up on the screen, Communist Manifesto. So that's the book from Karl Marx, literally the father of Marxism. I am a philosophy graduate from university. I graduated at the very top of my class, had the highest GPA in the history of the program. And this was from Wilfrid Laurier University in 2001. I was in there for at least 3 years. I started in business. And so I come from a very, very academic philosophy background. It's part of why my music and my Twitter posts resonate with people, is because I'm able to apply that lens. And I remember studying Karl Marx back in the day before all this stuff happened. In fact, I even remember back in university taking a philosophy of gender class in 1999 and having this fat lesbian prof come out and pull the same stuff that is now it's now permeated throughout all society. She came in and said, "You will not call things gay. You will not call things lame because that's against gypsies." And she started policing our language from the first day we sat in that class. And then she came in there and she started to dump all of these perverted versions of to all these different alternate ways of looking at ourselves and our sexuality apart from the traditional. And I remember she asked us to write an essay, and I was like blazing it through the program, getting A+ in every class. And so I was like, okay. And she goes, "I want you to give your take on gender." So I broke out the Bible and I broke out Genesis and when they created Adam and Eve, and I got into traditional gender roles and I wrote all that, and she gave me like a 50. And I remember going, "This is ridiculous. Like, I'm killing it in every class, but because I ideologically disagree with you, you're going to mark me down." And I remember I escalated all the way to the head of the department, and they sided with her, and then I had to drop the class. So what's happening in society now, I saw it coming like 20 plus years ago. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, this woman is batshit crazy, and there's nothing that she says that has any value to me as a student, so I'm dropping it. And then I walked away, never dreaming in a million years that this stuff would take off in society. And it did.
Wow.
And that was in 99, you said?
Yeah, that was in 99.
Wow.
Yeah, I took a gender studies class in the late 90s as well.
But that's when you were a liberal.
Yeah. But even then, like, I did see through it though. Like, I not fully, but I remember they just a lot of the class was based on surveys, and I'm like, everyone freaking lies in surveys. Like, shut up.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know.
Curveball. Sorry.
What?
Sorry?
I said curveball. Mr. Marx's relation to the good old-fashioned Rothschild family.
Oh, they're all, yeah, I'm sure.
There we go.
Shocker.
There it is.
It's always the Rothschild.
I was still a Christian conservative when I went to university. I became a Christian when I was 17, had my born-again experience. I came back, was on fire, and I was the leader of the youth group at my church and so forth. Then I went off to university, and I was not brainwashed. But what I came to realize is that the universities hide behind fancy degrees and prestigious accolades to have a position of authority to tell us what is truth, but they don't. And we're seeing this now. You're seeing this like all through the stuff they're pushing, like even with COVID, right? You have people that are perfectly intelligent, but they're totally blind to what's happening in front of them.
Yeah.
And you're like, how can you not see it? How can you not see it? Yet the same phenomena happens at universities where they try to push.
I am the science.
Yeah. I can't imagine, like, even back when I was there, this was in the 90s, man, like, it was a lot freer world. Now there's way more censorship. There's way more groupthink. There's way more punishment for wrongthink. I can't imagine what it must be like for students being in a university nowadays. Like, if they're not completely towing the line.
Those comments about COVID. Sorry.
One at a time.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I just said it has to be a hellscape. The end.
Yeah.
I was just saying that's a perfect segue to attempt number 2.
Okay, let's hear it.
For this video. Okay, so I literally saw this and I was just like, okay, if anybody watches this and listens to this 40 seconds after this health official in Chicago, Illinois says this in front of like a press conference, if someone listened to this and said, yeah, makes sense, sounds good, like you have no hope. So here we go.
Director of Public Health took time today to explain how the department rules someone an actual COVID death. It can be a little confusing. She says anyone who has COVID when they pass away will be included in that category. Dr. Ngozi Ezike explained this does not mean the virus caused that death, but if someone does test positive for COVID before dying, that is classified a coronavirus fatality.
You were in hospice and had already been given, a few weeks to live, and then you also were found to have COVID, that would be counted as a COVID death. It means that even if you died of a clear alternate cause, but you had COVID at the same time, it's still listed as a COVID death. So everyone who's listed as a COVID death doesn't mean that was the cause of the death, but they had COVID at the time of death.
And this was in early 2020.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Oopsies.
Anybody paying attention, and then you look at how the flu numbers disappeared and the COVID numbers popped up. To me, the biggest red flag was all the wrong people were promoting it. All the people that I knew were already enemies of humanity were promoting it. And I was like, well, I'm not, and I automatically am opposed to anything that you're pushing because I know who you are and what you're all about, right? Like Trudeau, I knew, obviously. So I don't know, and for me, I guess everybody believed it in the very beginning. I remember going to a grocery store with a giant painting mask on my face, feeling like a total retard.
Yeah.
And then stopping in the parking lot and going, what if there's nothing? And this is all fear-based programming to control us. What if I take off my mask and I walk through there and nothing happens? It's all just make believe. And then that's what I did. And from that moment forward, I went the other way.
Wow.
Yeah, here's your flu cases versus your COVID cases.
Yeah.
Like, it's so ridiculous. It's like, how does someone see that and not connect the dots?
Are you questioning the science?
Fuck your science.
So this is the beginning to me of like COVID is for many people is the beginning of an awakening journey. And then as you continue to follow the rabbit hole, you start to find out there's so many other things that they've lied about, right?
It's depressing.
Yeah.
And then, but like we said at the beginning, it's something you have to be able to see for yourself, because if you don't see it and you're still under the programming of what you've been taught all your life, and then somebody like one of us comes along and starts trying to tell them, they just think we're insane. You have to be able to see it for yourself.
Yep. 100%. Hey, Steve, can you go over, so when we first met, I thought your name was Adam because of your profile. Can you go over where the name Adamental came from?
Well, it's funny. Everybody thinks my name's Adam and I'm mental, and that or that it's like a spin on, the Christian first man Adam. But actually, no, none of that. Originally, my rap name was just Adamant. And because I'm very passionate and strongly feel what I think. But then people started calling me Adam Ant, like the old musician. And I found that it was just not a distinctive enough name. Like, I knew guys in the rap world. I knew a guy named Golden. I knew a guy named Soul. I knew a guy, like, basically very generic words. You try to search them on the internet, you're never going to find that artist. And I was like, I got to change my name. And what happened was the guy I used to be in a group with this black guy back like 25 years ago. And we put out a whole EP together. And I'm a beat maker. I'm a producer. I actually make the music on the whole album. Like, I don't buy beats. I make all the music. I'm a pianist. I can play. I used to play I've played at weddings and at schools and all kinds of things. Right. I'm a pretty good pianist, and that's where I make most of my beats from. So I would make a lot of instrumentals, and then he would call them the Adamant Instrumental, and then it slowly became the Adamental. Right, basically an adamant instrumental slowly became, and then he started calling all my beats Adamentals instead of instrumentals, and then that just stuck, and I loved it, and it was distinctive, and I went with it, and I've kept it for like 20-something years.
Nice.
Wow. I'm still calling you Adam, Steve.
Yeah. Well, I don't care. Like, I still have to be careful about revealing my identity to the world. I show my face everywhere, and I let people know that I'm in the KW area because I had a very public dispute with the Waterloo Region District School Board. But I also have to worry about people at my company seeing what I do, and so I have to. And the other thing is I speak out against a lot of agendas, and that you don't want the enemy coming to your door and starting to harass your children and all that sort of thing, right? So I have to be cognizant of that. I am myself. I'm not afraid. If I didn't have a family, I would throw caution to the wind and do everything, right? I would be the one. Let's just say there would be a lot of civil disobedience going on.
Right.
But because I have other people to think about, it's not just about me. I have to tread carefully, right? So that's the reality of it.
Yeah, once you have kids involved, it's you got to be a little bit more strategic, right?
Yeah, and I actually find it really disheartening in the freedom community. Like, there's a lot of inward division. I've been attacked more viciously from people on our side than on the other side because they see my posts and then they start to say things like, you're just complaining on the internet for clout. You're not actually doing anything to make a difference. You won't actually speak up at your company and try to change the culture. And instead, you're just coming on here and complaining. And basically, you're the reason Canada's so bad. You're a weak man and we're creating hard times. Like, I can't believe people are like, I'm like, dude, what do you want me to do? You want me to like commit total career suicide and set my family out into the cold because I was going to become a hero for the cause? Like, be realistic. Like, I'm doing everything in my power to fight and use my voice. But to them, it's like nothing is good enough, right? Oh, you're just, it's like, I can't believe people. Like, the internet is so brutal, man.
Yeah, no, I get attacked by people from our side too. I just did a tweet the other day and I got attacked. Like, the point of the tweet was like ignored because I wrote holiday instead of Christmas. Even Ash was triggered.
I was triggered.
One guy called. I was like, okay, the post is about the fact that I'm out there having the conversations, right? That's what the post was about. But I wrote holiday party instead of Christmas party. Some guy even comes, he's like, it's a Christmas party. I'm like, yeah, but Christmas is a holiday, FYI. Right? And then he called me a woke retard. I was like, are you serious? I was like, way to miss the whole point of the fucking post, man.
Well, I will see you at the Christmas party next weekend soon.
I will see you at the Christmas holiday party. It's a Christmas. To be honest with you, I don't know why I typed it out that way. Maybe I just liked the way it sounded. But yeah, hey.
But, we get the same infighting in the Christian community too, right? And I'm very much the biggest thing I hear from other Christians is basically you should turn the other cheek and then you should be loving and not be angry and fighting against all this stuff because they'll look at all the people who don't believe are looking at you and you're not putting on a good example. And I'm just like, no, what are you talking about? Like, like we have laws and we have crime and punishment for a reason. Like when the pedophile rapes your child, are you going to go and hug him and be all poor pedophile? No, you're going to throw him in prison, not give a damn about him, and you're going to protect your children from that person. So we have to fight evil. You can't just like be all soft and loving because you're like, oh, I need to save your soul because that's what Jesus would do. Like, oh no, I totally do not buy any of that garbage. As a Christian, we should be standing up, fighting, because guess what? These people are brainwashing and destroying our children and the country that they're going to grow up in. And if we care about anything good, we're going to speak out against it and not worry about, oh, you're not being a loving Christian. Like, no, these people are the enemy, and they need to be treated like that.
Yeah,
and God, I have no qualms about it.
Wasn't the flood was sent for a reason?
Yeah,
right. Like, come on.
This
flooded again.
I see this. I get this in the music world too, all the time, man. People will listen to my music and go, "You sound awful angry." I don't hear the love of Christ in your voice. I don't think you're real, right? I've heard that so many times, man, because too many people in the Christian world are too afraid to get up and be loud and have a strong voice and fight back because they're too afraid of of the criticism they're going to get from their own community. Mm-hmm. It's really sad. It's really sad.
Very sad. Well,
yeah, we actually stopped going to our church because our church went with it all. All of our pastors got vaccinated. None of them saw through the agenda. None of them tried to warn anyone. All of them basically just said, oh, I think the government might be overreacting a little. That's about the best that they
overreacting a little.
Oh, yeah, that's what they told us, right? And then I was like, I can't come here and rub shoulders with you people. Like, I can't do this anymore. I know you're probably all like have good hearts and love Jesus, but you're total NPCs when it comes to the enemy destroying the people in our lives.
Yeah.
I have a friend who she lives in the in Holland Landing area, which is like near Newmarket, Ontario. And same thing with their church. They now go to a church every Sunday near, well, I think out near your way, Steve, like Kitchener-Waterloo area. And that's what they felt like they needed to do to like stand their ground, and they just found a new community.
You know, it was really surreal. I don't know about you, but during COVID, like when the Freedom Convoy stuff started to happen and people were coming out of the woodworks and being a little more bold and being public about their position, and we were the same way, what we found is that there was literally only 3 homes in our entire neighborhood who supported the Freedom Convoy, at least publicly. Right. And I felt like, wow, we're so in the minority. And like where are all my people? And then even in the church, when they started to enforce masking to get in, and they started to limit how many people could come into the service, and they started to basically like enforce the government restrictions, there was like a small sub community of the church that would reject it all and then reconvene outside and be like, can you believe these people? Like it was sad. Like we're not all of the same view.
Yeah.
And it's so the same feeling I had about my neighborhood. There's like only 2 of us that see it the same way. And then the same thing happened in our church congregation. I just felt, and that's why like there's one of my posts that went viral was basically saying that I feel like I don't belong anywhere because, you know, nobody in our neighborhood supported the convoy, and all of our pastors took the vax and enforced the official narrative. And they even, like our pastor, even from the pulpit made fun of people like you and me. Who were trying to call out what the broader political agenda is. And he basically said, aren't you embarrassed? You were wrong. You should apologize. You're not a prophet. La, 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 la. And I was like, I cannot believe this. I got to get out of here. I can't be around these people.
Yeah.
So what's next for you, Steve? What war are you going to tackle next? Anything specific?
Well, I'm really doubling, tripling, quadrupling down on my music. My sister runs a YouTube channel and makes a full-time income off it, and she basically proved to the whole family that you can totally do this. It's totally doable. You can make your full-time income off the internet if you produce the right content, have the right work ethic, and you put it out there. I don't think I'm going to be able to transition away from my office slave job because I have mouths to feed and I make too much money there to walk away. But I want to pursue music before I'm too old to do it, and I want to use my voice to try and wake people up because I feel like one of my talents. Like first of all, I come from a trained philosophy background. I'm a trained arguer, and then on top of that, in my day job, I'm somebody that gives a lot of presentations and gets up in front of people all the time and gives a lot of training. I'm very good on my feet, and I think one of my special skills is to be able to take really complicated academic information and break it down in really simple terms for lay people to understand. And so that makes that, like, I have a gift to be able to convey things to people who don't have no idea what I'm talking about. And so I want to use that, and I want to use that through my music, and I want to use that through my Twitter, and I want to just anybody. Like, I'm becoming very bold. Like, the older you get, the less you give a damn anymore. I don't care if people think I'm a psycho or a weirdo. I'm fighting for what's right. Like, I don't care anymore. Do you think? Like,
it's true though.
I'm so past that point. Like, I don't care. Like, fine, roll your eyes and move on. That's the way it goes.
Well, if you're ever interested, I don't know about you ladies, like, I would love to be in an upcoming music video. I'm just saying.
Well, I'm coming out. I'm coming out to this party on Friday, but
are we making a video?
I could bring the equipment. We could totally do it. Yeah.
Wait, it's Saturday. Isn't it Saturday?
It's Saturday.
Saturday, yeah. Well, the account that runs the Maple Mega merch, I've been talking to him and about maybe using his merch in a video, and like, like if we just could get the right set and the right people, I could totally do it on the Saturday if we wanted to. I just don't want to. I'm not trying to hijack the party, make it about me. That's all, right? You know what I mean?
No, it's just a little section will be about you. That's fine. That's totally fine. Well, I'm going to be late because I got to work that morning. So,
well,
is it an overnight thing again?
For whoever wants to stay overnight, I can't stay this. I can't stay this time.
Right. Okay.
I claimed the guest room. Sorry.
Well,
I will not be in attendance.
What? No.
I cannot. I have Christmas obligations.
Are you sure they're not holiday obligations?
No, I can't stay because I'm taking my daughter out the next day for her birthday with a couple of her friends. So, yeah. Anyways.
So yeah, I mean, I want to network and meet more and more people, and I just, I'm trying to build an audience for music, obviously, but it's not really out of a desire to make any kind of money or anything like that. It's just about, like, here, I think I can contribute to this cause, and hopefully this helps somebody, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Well, no, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, because I'm working with these two other rappers down in the U.S. One guy's in Texas, one guy's in Virginia. They're a little bit younger than me, but we were on a Zoom call last week talking about our business strategy, and I was, being the motivational speaker and trying to, talk about our, basically fighting for the cause of trying to spread the gospel. And one of the guys piped up and said, "Nobody's going to get saved through rap music. What are you talking about?" And I was like, "I don't know. Don't undersell your talent." I said, "Listen, music can stoke emotions and can make people people can have powerful spiritual experiences listening to music." I go, like, you can, like, the power that you have if you're good at what you're doing. I feel like an absolute sorcerer, like the things that I can create, and I can deliver a message that if I just said it to you, you would go, cool. But then if I rap it over the most powerful epic beat with, like, insane crescendos where I'm, like, absolutely menacingly dropping truth and it resonates with your soul, like, that's a different gift. That's a different thing. And that's what I want to bring to the table.
Well, I am looking forward to it.
Me too.
On that note.
Anyway, I could go on forever, but
we are gonna sign it off. We are gonna make a music video this weekend. I hope Wabbit's ready.
Wabbit's got a great singing voice. I want to get him on a chorus.
He does. See, we got this. It's gonna be a good time. Ladies, Dave, any final thoughts on all things discussed this evening?
Ladies first.
Tammy?
Oh, I was being polite again. I'm just so tired. I'm so tired.
Of this world? Yeah.
Yeah. Send the asteroid.
Flood it again.
That's all. I'm just tired.
I'm tired.
But this is why this community, we need to connect with each other for sanity, right?
Yeah.
You're living you're rubbing shoulders with zombies every day, and it's very isolating and it's very dystopian.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And honestly, I think that is probably my biggest struggle right now is, like, I feel so, I don't want to say disconnected from reality, but I go to work every day and I can't even focus on normal daily things because I'm like, everything's a lie. It's just, it's such a weird spot to be in. And then I go and like, I'll hang out with friends or whatever. And I can't do the mindless conversations, or like my best friend, her husband, the only thing he watches is CBC. And I'm like, I can't listen to you anymore. Just shut up.
This is why I find it hard working at this company, because that's the same type of thing. You're having it constantly pushed on you, and you're just like, this is so dystopian.
And I feel you with this because I also work for a very large corporation that is super woke. I actually visit Kitchener, Waterloo area on a very regular basis. And, I see how incredibly woke it is. And it's just so hard. Thankfully, I do work with a couple people, mainly one who is or has been red pilled. And so
by you.
Yes, by me. So it makes it a little bit easier, but like day to day, it's just like, I feel like I have nothing to talk about with people anymore. The only time I feel comfortable is like having conversations on the podcast, or when I get to actually see Susan Ash in person, or, anyways, those are my final thoughts. I'm just tired.
So I want to just, to respond to that, I also want to mention, like, I've had people come and say, what makes you think that you guys have figured it out, that you can see through all the lies and you know what's going on, but we're all lost. Like that's some kind of ego-driven, hey man, we're the only ones that can see it. And it's like, they think that we want to be in this position. And I'm like, are you kidding? It is a total nightmare being the only awake one in a sea of zombies. And I go, once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And you almost wish you could go back, but you can't. Yeah. It's like in the Matrix when the guy goes, give me the blue pill, I want to go back to eating steak and wine because I can't stand seeing reality for what it is. That's what it's really like. So let me tell you, I wish I could go back to the happy days of when everything was normal, but you just can't. Once you're woken up, you can't go back to sleep. It's impossible.
I feel like we're in that like gooey pod that Neo wakes up in with all, that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah,
it's depressing, but at the same time, at least we're not led to the slaughter by all the propaganda that everybody else is, but it's psychologically, it's very, it's a weight to carry every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's exhausting. Yeah.
It is. Yep. And, like, I think, like, it's so hard sometimes to kind of, carry the weight. And every now and then I try to be normie. Like this weekend, we watched a few Christmas movies, and I'm just like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, what if Santa was created by the elite called to take down Christianity, and Santa is an anagram of Satan, and he wears red, and I'm just like, oh, why do I do this to myself?
Because you can't turn it off once it's on. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And it makes it hard to enjoy, because there is very deliberate programming put into all this stuff. Right?
There is.
You just hope you don't notice that.
Something that I do actually, I tend to make it a game now, where I just watch and notice, and I just think about what messages they're trying to get out there and why. So even Tammy was talking about the Titanic last week, and I was working from home, so I just put on anything I could find on the Titanic on YouTube just to see, like, what are they saying about it? And some of it was so ridiculous, and I could totally see how they're trying to debunk things. And I don't know where the truth is, but I could see the spinning happening. And so even though I may not know what actually happened, I know what they're trying to sway you away from believing, which is something.
Version,
right?
they're selling you. They're selling you a very specific version.
Yeah. So anyways, my final thought would just be, it was awesome to talk to you on the podcast, Steve. I really love your music, and I've really enjoyed, getting to know you at Wabbit's house, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again in person. But I do really think that, like I said earlier, there is a void in the space of creativity for like positive messages and important, maybe not so much positive, but important non-satanic messages. And so keep doing what you're doing, because we need that. And like you were saying, people really connect with music, and it can move people in very significant ways. So keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully, people will just keep listening.
Yeah, well said, Ash.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to make a big noise, as big a noise as I can, and then I just don't want to get to the end of my life and be like, I didn't do everything I could. So
Yeah.
That's all there is behind it. Like, I don't need to make money. I'm doing fine. I don't have any hidden motive. I don't have like, oh, I want to become famous or something. There's nothing of that.
Steve didn't drink the gold juice.
Yeah, no. I've rubbed shoulders. Like, let me tell you, man, in the music industry, it's the same thing as every corporation, right? Where they come and they basically say, we'll make you part of our team if you toe our line, if you represent our views and push our values. Like, basically the devil comes and says, if you sell your soul and bow down and worship me, I will make you rich and famous beyond your wildest dreams. I have totally been there. And, I'm so glad I rejected it, because life is short. It ain't worth selling your soul over.
Yeah.
Yep. That's right.
Because then if you want your soul back, you get Epstein.
Yeah.
Or you die of pneumonia. One of the two.
Yeah, one of the two.
Dave, any final thoughts from you?
I agree with Ashley that NF and Mr. Tom McDonald need some competition as far as people with a positive message out there.
Heck yeah.
So just mad props to our guest here for the contributing of his skills and his message to the fight of good against evil. And I feel like we all kind of are, whether it be the music, whether it be this podcast, the videos that I'm making, as far as that's going on. We're all kind of preventing the next book burning, in my eyes, where you won't be able to delete what the real accounts were by real people when you attempt to do the next book burning, so to say.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So just keep it up, and all of us keep it up, and good shall prevail.
We're all using our skills in some way to get the word out there, right?
That's right.
I just, like, even with my company, when they try to get you to do pronouns in your email, or they try to get you to do native land acknowledgements, like, my attitude is I will not violate my own conscience. And that's the way I feel about everything that we're doing here. Like, if you just stay quiet and go with the flow, you're gonna feel guilty about it, because you know better, and you could be speaking up and saying something. So like, I can't walk away feeling like I violated my own conscience about all of it.
Tammy.
Yes.
You are up next week, my friend. Can you tell us what we will be talking about, if you happen to know?
Yes, I can. And this time I'm not going to take everybody down a dark rabbit hole.
Are we going to have a good time? Or
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
I don't believe you. Lying.
We're doing something a little different next week. So we actually have a former retired investigator for the Canadian MUFON.
What?
So his handle is at UAP Bay. His name on X is T-Bay MUFON. And he's going to be talking to us about UFOs.
Stop it. Are we doing the CE5 protocol and the aliens are coming to get us next week? Is this happening? Is this really happening?
Honestly, I'm going to try my best.
Oh my God.
I'm ready.
Excited.
I'm ready.
I guarantee this turns dark.
Dave.
He's probably not wrong, though.
I already had 3 thoughts in my head where I'm like, oh, dark. Never mind.
Hayden just said he wants to join us on this one next week.
Yeah, well, of course, he would be super interested in this. So,
sorry, Hayden.
I already messaged Mary Kate Delvey and told her that we were having this guy on and to wait for the episode. So she's aware and super excited for us because she loves all things UFOs and aliens. So yeah, so he'll be joining us, and I think it will be something different and kind of fun.
Well,
and not dark.
So excited. It's going to be dark, just like Dave said.
It's not.
It's not going to be the dark that we're used to.
The absence of light. So, I mean, you know,
it's going to be a different kind of dark. So I am very excited for this.
Yay.
Steve, I want to thank you so much for joining us. I absolutely love your take on everything you talk about. I love your passion that you have for this fight. I love your music. Like Ash said, keep doing what you're doing. Please come chat with us anytime.
No, I had a blast. I think we're all on the same wavelength. It was a good exchange.
Yes, come back, talk to us anytime. I and Ash will see you this weekend for some shots and some music video making. Get ready. Tammy, I think you should change your plans and come join us.
Sadly, I cannot. And I'm sad about it because I missed my last chance to meet you too. So it kind of it does suck, but unfortunately I have a family Christmas, actually 2 family Christmases that I have to be at in the early afternoon and evening. So
well, we'll just have to plan a spring thing then.
FaceTime me.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. We will do that.
Yay.
No
Dave, did you take work off?
I'm not allowed to take work off. I work in a busy restaurant and I run the restaurant. And during this time of year, no.
But you said you were going to check and that you would maybe be able to get off at 5 and come join us. So that's not happening.
And then at night, there's a party of 30, a party of 25 with 180 people already reserved to come in.
Fuck those people. Okay. Boo. Well, Ash and Steve will miss you both.
We will.
I hope you guys have the best time.
We will.
No, I get it. Life's busy, and especially at the Christmas time. I'm not usually able to get out, but I just feel like it's been such a long time. It's time to reconnect.
Yes. We'll do it again.
Absolutely.
You know, whether it's sometime in the spring, summer, whatever, we try to make a point of at least having a couple meetups throughout the year, right? So
we will do it again.
We will. Everyone out there, thank you for listening. If you like what you hear, please like and subscribe and tell your friends to do the same. Be sure to check out Steve as well. Again, he's on X at Adamental 2. That's ADAMENTAL 2. And be sure to check out his album over on Spotify called Last Days. And we will catch you all next time, everybody. Bye.
Bye, everyone.